One of the great things about Sinners is this whole conversation about music and the supernatural, which has been wrapped up in the blues forever. And of course, Kendrick on GNX has a song that does like so much similar work about like the supernatural and the ancestors and music traveling through generations and through spiritual realms. That it seems like he wrote Reincarnated for Sinners, even though it comes out before the movie came out.
Seems like that. I feel like he might have talked to Coogler while they was working on it or something. But just great minds think alike, right? And this,
Yeah.
if we think about the scene up in Sinners where Sammy is going through the history and spirits are coming from the future and
Mm,
past of black
mm,
music, that's what
mm,
Reincarnated is. And the concept that's
mm,
occurring through history of this music being the devil's music, or the devil taught these people how to play the guitar, right? From
mm,
that time
mm.
period. It's something that recurs through black music since the blues, even before that, but since the blues, and that's the parallel that's there within Reincarnated and Sinners. So let's get through this. Let's get straight
Well, I
to
mean,
this.
I want to talk through it. I mean, like we talk about how the blues is the root of all African American and all American music, and the
Yeah.
blues is the roots of the tree of the music that is American music. And here, Kendrick is suggesting a lived experience through multiple lives of multiple generations where the blues comes through history into him through reincarnation, which is such a beautiful way of like thinking about all of this.
It's fascinating. I listened to it like 4 times, and then I started seeing parallels to the idea of Sammy and the idea of you it being the devil's music, as well as reincarnation. When you think about the whole vampires living past on, and right here off the beginning, off top,
Yeah.
yeah, you have first actually you have the intro from De Barrera, where that I think loosely translates to "I see my reflection in the night, you and I."
Hmm. Hmm.
So basically saying that all of us come from this, seeing your reflection in the night could be compared to the devil or the heavens, and saying that we see our reflection within these stories and in the spirit. So that right there kind of sets the tone for everything. And I'm fresh off of listening to this for 4 times. So, and I'm so in love with the writing of this song. Like it's really that good. I got this fire burning in me from within. Concentrated thoughts on who I used to be. I'm shedding the skin. This is Kendrick the speaker. And when I say Kendrick the speaker, I'm saying not Kendrick the character in this story. This is him, the speaker, telling the audience who's listening right now. And he doesn't change and become first person narrative until he gets down to this line right here. Cynical about the judgment day. I did past life regression last year and it fucked me up. So that means right there, he's questioning his faith. And then he says, I did past life regression, which is hypnotherapy that like supposedly you're supposed to see your past spirits and all that. So when we come to the start right here, this is when the speaker is gone and it is him being within the story as first person. So reincarnated on this earth for 100 plus body, he goes, let's take it back to Michigan in 1947. People hear dates and think birth, but this is just taking place in that space around that time.
This seems likely to be John Lee Hooker, who moves from
Yeah.
Michigan to Detroit, is working at Ford, and 1947 is around the time when he's moving from being a worker to starting to become more of a known, slightly working musician. It's still a little while
Right.
before he's known, but he starts to be more of a working musician. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not it's not a literal father kicked me out of the house. That means something else.
Yes. Father kicked me out the house because we'll find this out in the third verse. Why this is a motif throughout the verses. My father kicked me out of my house is representing falling from heaven, falling from your father's grace.
An artist becoming an independent person, leaving institutions, not just my literal father, but like I am becoming unique and individual apart from the way you are supposed to be.
It's that and the duality of that too. It's like this is what you're supposed to be, and this is where faith is a big part of this. So you have to subscribe to this faith and its ideals for you to. So I didn't care about his influence, only loved what I was doing. So you could relate this whole thing to Sammy's story in Sinners, where it's like Sammy was doing what he's supposed to do, going to church on Sunday, but Saturday night, I gotta play the blues, I gotta get some nookie, I gotta do what I want to do. I'm doing what I love doing and what I want to do, and I don't care about your influence and your faith and the light that you're trying to show me, right? So moving on from that, gifted as a musician, I played guitar on a grand level, the most talented where I'm from, but I had to rebel, or I had to rebel, because that's he puts in the word. So he's still going throughout the whole.
But this is what you were saying with Sammy. Go back a little bit. That so I'm off in the sunset, searching for my place in the world. That's like Sammy, right? Like sunsets, and he goes into the clubs trying to make his name.
Completely. I'm off in the sunset, searching for my place in the world, and just in Sinners. Moving forward, he saw more avenues for success in what Smoke and Stack were doing, with people, what they're doing in Chicago, what they're doing in Michigan, right? There's actually a place for us up there. We could actually get music out. You know what I'm saying? This turns into, Motor City, Motown, music capital, because black people actually can get active over there where they couldn't, where he's coming from. They can't do it in the South. And it moves forward in time. It goes, I found myself with a pocket full of money and a whole lot of respect. While the record business loved me, I was head of rhythm and blues. The women fell to my feet, so many to choose, but I manipulated my power as I lied to the masses, died with my money. Gluttony was so attractive. Right there, that's the Sinner's blues story, right? He got all these worldly things that usually in this faith that the devil provides, but he lost the truth that this music, this gospel is spiritual, and you should be coming from a place of spirituality and truth, right? And he didn't do it for that. And people talked about him, John Lee Hooker, in this way, because John Lee Hooker was one of the first blues musicians that were like getting syncs. And I know this from getting syncs myself. Like, he got a lot of sync licensing. Same thing with like Rolling Stones, where they were criticized for getting syncs, because back in the day, you were criticized for having songs that are on TV and movie. It felt commercial. You felt like you were bastardizing the art.
I find this to be really beautiful, because Kendrick is linking himself personally to music history and talking about music history flows through me. I've lived multiple lives within music, or at least within the narrative of this song. And so there's a spiritual connection between the person who's rapping and the person who was singing the blues decades ago. And then we propelled forward into Billie Holiday is one of his spiritual ancestors in this journey. Let's do that verse, the second verse.
Yeah. Favorite verse, because I'm a huge Billie Holiday fan, and this is why I just know that this is Billie Holiday. Another Life had placed me as a black woman in the Chitlin circuit, seductive vocalist as the promoter hit the curtains. First of all, just like the rhyme pattern there, like when we're just talking rapping, this is fucking immaculate. You're telling a story and you have this internal rhyme as well as just the syncopation of that is crazy. Heroin needles had me in the fetal position, restricted. That's like, for you to be in the fetal position goes back to your birth and like where you come from, and heroin needles putting you back, that it could be a sign of that brought that person comfort, right? Self-indulged discipline never been my sentiments. I needed drugs. To me, an 8-ball was like penicillin. So 8-ball was like something as common as penicillin that will cure, your bacterial infections. Like, I took 8 balls, like, I needed penicillin. Fuck love, my happiness was that in that brown sugar. Brown sugar being heroin, as well as can be, which I think is an entendre for a lesbian relationship, saying that because Billie Holiday was also into women, which why other people think that it was Whitney Houston is because this also parallels Whitney Houston. My first assistant was a small town scholar, never did a quaalude till I got myself around her. This is why I think it's Billie Holiday, because Billie Holiday had a relationship with someone who was a former actress who was an assistant, and her name was Tallulah Bankhead. And I don't know if she was passing or white, but she looked white. But so that she had a strong relationship with her, and that person, Tallulah, introduced her into like other drugs outside of heroin. So that's why I feel like this leans towards more of Billie Holiday. My daddy looked the other way. He saw sin in me. I died with syringes pinched in me, reincarnated. So that's the speaker again at the end, always saying reincarnated. That's Kendrick, the speaker. My daddy looked the other way. Father, actual father as in God, and you died with syringes in you. And
powerful. This sort of, I am the amalgam of these amazing Black music legends. To hear him link himself to the life of a Black woman, because so often we would imagine, our forefathers, and women would imagine their foremothers, but he's imagining himself previous life as Billie Holiday and dealing with her ups and her downs. And it's really powerful, and it really brings you into that, again, that same sort of thing we saw in Sinners, the sort of blues impact on the spirit and the soul and multi-generations. But it gets the third verse is really deep, and I'm surprised you said the second verse is your favorite. I know you love Billie Holiday, but in the third verse, Kendrick is talking to God and having a conversation, a real conversation back and forth with God. This is kind of incredible writing and conceiving of lyrics.
Immaculate.
Like,
so this is Kendrick, the speaker, becoming the first person in this narrative. So my present life is Kendrick Lamar, a rapper looking at lyrics to keep you in awe. So the speaker's telling you where he is, and then he comes in to tell you that my father kicked me out my house. I finally forgive him. So this is you learning from your lessons and your like hatred that you have for your father, right? Hatred that you may have for heaven and everyone and your Lord and your faith, right? And you're like, I'm going to do something different in this life, or you have changed. I'm old enough to understand that the way I was living, ego and pride had me looking at him with resentment. Close my eyes, hoping that I don't come off contentious. I'm yelling, Father, did I finally get it right? So he's asking for forgiveness. He's asking, do you see what I've done? Look at what I've done. I'm changed. I spoke freely when the people needed me. I helped them. I didn't gloat, even told them no when the vultures came. So you could say that's a reference to his own personal choices, where as far as like business choices and keeping it within the family, working with TDE, everything being like, Black and for the people and spiritual, as well as him saying the vultures came, like when Drake and them were on top. I told everybody, no, don't you listen to this time. Took control of my
body when the money changed.
Money changed. That's I feel like a reference to the addiction, like sex addiction, and what he talked about, Mr. Morale. It's like I took control of this, and it's like I got healthy, money changed, I had more access to all these vices, and I said no. I looked internally and I try to be better. And then the father comes in, son, you do well, but your heart is closed. I can tell residue that linger from your past creates itself. So it's like yes, you're trying, you're doing, but you have residue. Like it's still on your hands. Like you washed your hands, but there's still stuff there. It's muddy.
And this is what Kendrick is saying throughout the song, that I am the child of John Lee Hooker and Billie Holiday and other musical greats. And so like that past lingers into me now.
Genius. Like the writing of the song, every time
they're going back and forth. And what I appreciate is Kendrick is trying to tell him, I've done this, I've done this, I'm trying to push peace, but you love war. And God is like, you do love war. And he takes over right? Kendrick is trying to be in control of the conversation, and God takes control of the conversation and starts pushing him around.
Yeah, his father takes complete control, or the father takes complete control over the conversation right there, where he says, but you love war. He goes, I kept 100 institutions paid. Okay, tell me more. I put 100 hoods on the stage. Okay, tell me more. The tell me more isn't, I want more of the things that you did well. It's like, get to the root of it all. Be honest with me. That's why I love that tell me more line so much. It's not about tell me more and add on to all the good things you do. It goes, I'm trying to push peace in LA, but you love war. No, I don't. Oh, yes, yeah, you do. You know what I'm saying? So he tells him right there that this is the core of the residue that's within you. You love war. There's anger in you. There's something there, right? Okay, then tell me the truth. Every individual is only a version of you. How can they forgive when there's no forgiveness in your heart? Right there is talking about his whole concept and idea of I'm not your savior, right? He's saying that I'm not your savior. And then coming into this space and GNX space, it seemed like even when he did the interview with Ebro, he was just like, sometimes you just got to own up to what you're given, the position that they're saying that you're in, right? And he's just going to take that position. So him saying that every individual is only a version of you is saying that we are all connected under all this. And if you can't forgive yourself or have forgiveness in your heart, how can other people see that? How are you truly affecting other people if you do not show the change within yourself?
When he talks about you fell out of heaven because you was anxious, when God says that to Kendrick, and you think, well, the person who falls out of heaven famously is the devil. So is he the devil in this narrative?
Throughout the entire narrative, it's the devil's story. From John Lee Hooker, first verse, Billie Holiday, second verse, to this third verse. This is the devil being falling from grace and going through the spirit of these musicians and seeing the failures of the devil through all these stories. So yes, any character in the story is the devil. John Lee Hooker, the devil. Billie Holiday, the devil, or Whitney, and third.
And now in this last verse, God is having it out with the devil, or with Kendrick through the devil. And centuries, you manipulated man with music, embodied you, the devil, as superstars to see how you move. And you came a long way from garnishing evil views. And all God ever wanted was love and approval. No, that's Kendrick talking again. All I ever wanted from you was love and approval. So I guess that's what the devil would say.
What'd you say?
Here, at the very end, he changes. So when he gets to, I learned a lot, no more putting these people in fear. Then he's changing to, I'm going to try to be a good person. I'm using words for inspiration. So what is happening here as he's deciding to be a good person? Like the devil would never decide to be a good person.
That's what you're saying. But if you come to the end of this story, it answers that question, right? With the last line. So in this space, the devil that's within this, that's been reincarnated through all these characters, right? And the devil is coming to terms with, I just wanted love and approval. I learned a lot. No more putting these people in fear. I'm not going to put these people in fear. I'm not going to entice anger and create this pain and struggle within the people that I have influence over. I'm using my words for inspiration as an idea, right? This is him understanding what his purpose should be in this space. When something that Kendrick loves to do, he always wraps it up in a bow. Sometimes I love it, sometimes not so much, but he wants to have a moral ending or just a purposeful ending to the narrative. It's usually there. It's in Black of the Berry. It's in To Pimp a Butterfly, the whole album. He's just going to wrap it up. It's in Mr. Morale, right? Yeah. So he's wrapping it up right here, letting you know that this person has redeemable qualities. This fallen angel. Do you see him? See the understanding of that? The devil's a fallen angel, correct?
Right.
And that's the story. Right. This fallen angel is redeemable because the devil used to be an angel.
Right.
So angel to earth, devil. If the devil returns back to God, it could be an angel. That's the narrative being described here. or the theme that's being described
that
here. So in
that
the
the
end, it
devil
answers everything that,
the devil is being redeemed.
yes, I vow my life just to live one in harmony now. You crush a lot of people keeping their thoughts in captivity, and I'm ashamed that I ever created that enemy. See, that's Father again. Then let's rejoice where we at, right? I rewrote
Yeah.
the devil's story just to take our power back. Reincarnated, right? That's the speaker again. That's important to know. That's not the Father. That's not Kendrick Lamar, the character in this story. I rewrote the devil's story just to take our power back as the speaker from the beginning of the entire
Hmm.
song. So as
Hmm.
the speaker's telling you this is, I rewrote the devil's story. So when you said the devil wouldn't do that, he rewrote this story. This is
Hmm.
not the devil story that you know about. This is the redemption of the devil. This is what you call the devil within the Black American music and what's going on, and saying that it came from blues, and then look at the pain and suffering that's in the music, and the negativity gets promoted through the music over the years. We're talking, and the things that you have to deal with, right?
Hmm.
Over the years, these it is redeemable. This music, this spirit is redeemable. It's not just the enemy. And I think that's what's beautiful.
You know, it's interesting that you put it that way because Ryan Coogler is all about redeemable villains. First, it was
Exactly.
Killmonger, who was like a villain. We were like, well, he makes very good sense, so maybe we should follow him. And Remick in Sinners makes perfect sense. He's not just some wild villain who just wants to kill because he's homicidal. He's trying to get back to
Yep.
his family. He's trying to resurrect his people. So, like, from his perspective, his motivation makes perfect sense. So we start the film seeing him as a vulture, a villain, a demon, and but then when we learn who he really is, he is redeemed as this redemption of the devil happens in this song. It's a very complicated song.
It is so complicated, and that's why I listened to it. Like, for me, it's so much clarity in it for me right now. That's why I made the parallels to the Sinners. But so complicated that I had to, like, really soak it in to really, I'm talking about true understanding. Like, I knew from first listening, he's rewriting the devil's story, but true understanding that this is goes back. It's about black music. It's a story of, like, the devil being a metaphor for just unbearable atrocities and struggling. Like, just because you have this trauma, this pain, and this suffer that's what you were birthed out of. This music was birthed out of pain, struggle.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's not redeemable and it can't be used for good. And that's what floored me when I really kind of realized what was going on in the song. Because he's talking about the music, he's talking about musicians, he's talking about the art and relating to the spirituality in the art. And I think that's it
How
right there,
many
man.
how many songs are there where the artist is having a conversation with God? And if they are having a conversation with God, generally it's a fairly saccharine, sweet conversation with God, not one like this where God is challenging and pushing you and like telling you shit you don't want to hear about yourself. And it's also strange to me that he makes God's voice sound so plain and robotic and monotone.
But it's actually layered. That's what I like about it. God's voice sounds like a choir of people almost on this song. Like, it's his high voice, it's his lower voice, and a lower register. It's like pitched, so it seems bigger than human, even though it's monotone, right? I think that's really dope. I really love the Sonics. Oh, back to the Sonics too. That melody, that sample. All this is all through the voice of Pac too. By the way, like, we forgot to bring that up. Like, this is through the voicing of Pac. Like, this is Pac's
What do
flow.
you
This is Pac's beat. When I say voice, as in, like, the character who's on display with the rapping, that cadence is Pac's cadence. The beat is Pac's beat made niggas, right? The whole thing is through that perspective too. So, like, it makes me think two things. One, evoking Pac as another character in the reincarnated story, as well as evoking Pac as the actual speaker. So the speaker is Pac. You remember I said that? So there's the speaker. There's John Lee Hooker as first person character in the first verse. There's Billie Holiday as first person character in the second verse. Kendrick Lamar, first person character in the third verse. But the speaker is Pop. And I think that's very important to realize. And the music that's used in Made Niggas is a blues scale. And a blues scale always has the fifth note that is that makes it that sad feeling or whatever, and it's looped. So it's this looped blues scale from the beginning to the third verse is when you get more jazz chords and it feels a little bit more brighter, feels a little bit lighter once Kendrick's verse comes in. These jazz chords come in, and I think that's also beautiful. So he's like in heaven while he's talking to his father musically. So there's just so many layers in this song. It's outstanding. It's crazy. This is the best, one of his best written songs as a writer.
Amazing. It's amazing.
As a writer, yeah.
Well, damn, the song is even deeper than I thought. Professor Green, thank you for the TED Talk.
We out. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. This is Rap Latte. We out. Scoop.